Hey. Welcome to another Real Estate Tea podcast, even though we are not talking about real estate again.
Yeah, we're like, as we're entering into like a holiday week, so we're gonna do something a little. I don't even know if I want to call it lighthearted because I don't know if this is gonna be lighthearted.
Well, we're going to piggyback off of our last episode, just about being a girl's girl, and we kind of were ending it with talking about women knowing their self-worth. So today we're going to enter that.
Yeah, she's got a lot of stuff to say.
So. I don't have a lot of stuff to say.
Oh, really?
Yeah, do I? I don't know.
Oh, you know how she keeps it real.
Well, I think that we're going to talk about how low the bar is. Let's talk about that. Let's start our conversation with where's the bar? Where's the dating bar? Where's our expectation bar?
On the ground.
On the ground.
It's on the ground.
Why? Why is it on the ground? What happened?
I don't know. I wish, I feel like there should be some monumental thing that happened, for the bar to be on the ground, because I feel like people don't even value relationships anymore. They're just happy. So many people, I know so many people that have settled in their relationships just so they're not alone. So is it people just stopped making sure they were enough for themselves?
I really wish that I had the answer. And if we have somebody out there that's listening and you would like to be a guest on our podcast because you have some answers, please send us a message because we'd love to have you. I think it's time that we pick up the bar, dust and polish it off, and raise it back up again.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I told you. She's
Well, I think dating as a whole, I think, has just changed over the years. Because back, obviously, in my day, back in the day, guys would approach women, girls, whatever you want to say, and strike up a conversation, and things weren't always comfortable on either end, but they did that. And now it's like you can't. A guy DMs you, what the hell is that?
I know. I feel like it just because it piggybacks off of how much technology has grown as well. And I mean, and you see some of these younger generations, they don't even know how to have a face-to-face conversation. Mm-hmm. So everybody's hiding behind their phones, and that fear of rejection, I feel like, has become so much more of a thing and so big because if you text someone hey, you want to hang out or whatever, and they say no, okay, whatever, moving on. But to have that rejection in your face, I think people just really have gotten
soft.
Yeah.
Let's just put it out there, soft. Because you still had rejection. You've always had rejection, mm-hmm. But people knew how to handle rejection. And not that anybody ever welcomes and loves rejection, right? Mm-hmm. But we're a society of today that everybody gets a trophy. So we don't teach anybody, we're not teaching our young people to know what hardship is, mm-hmm. and struggle. And, I know I made the mistake, and I know this is off topic, but I came from a background of struggle. My mom and I was raised by a single mom. Shout out to my single moms out there. And my mom did it, even though it wasn't easy. And there was times we didn't even know where our next meal was coming from, but I knew and understood a struggle. So when I had my kids and I struggled, I hid that from them. And that's where I made a mistake, mm-hmm. because people need to see struggle. They need to experience struggle to appreciate a come up. If you're always thinking you're up, then where do you go? Then you got to go up again. And I think that's where so much looking for that next high, looking for that next adrenaline rush, looking for that next, whatever, because people don't know what it's like to be here and climb up. They always think they're up. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
It does, because I feel even, going back to what you said about kids too, so many parents try to hide any negative feelings, negative situations from their kids. And I understand that you want to protect your kids, and I totally understand that. But I think that with that, then kids, I feel that's why so many people have, anxiety issues, depression issues, and all of that stuff, because then real life hits, mm-hmm. and they have no idea how to control their feelings, how to understand their feelings, how to make it through the situation, because they were never taught how to deal with that. They were hidden from it. So yeah, the world is soft.
Yeah, I think it's really important to be realist with your children, because especially in today's times, Lord Jesus, whoa. But raising two, dark-skinned boys, I had to teach my kids different things, being boys and being, half Black, half Latinos, that, you get pulled over, you put your hands on the steering wheel, get your driver's license out, put it on the door, you have to, and people are like, why are you telling your kids that? Because I don't want my kids to get shot. I don't want my kids to get killed. And that's it happens every day. We hear about it all the time. And now with social media and all these other outlets, back in the day, if somebody got hurt, we weren't always hearing about it or didn't always know about it. But now it's like everybody's like got their phones. Anything that's going on, they got their phones. It's all over social media. It's all over the news. So it's like you have to be able to teach your kids, because even my boys have thanked me, like, thank you, because they're dealing, or they have dealt with situations that have put them in very uncomfortable situations. And if they didn't have that upbringing or that knowledge, who knows if they'd be here,
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's
you
true.
got to be a realist, and you got to raise your kids to know the world is tough. And especially like girls, they got to know that they're beautiful. I mean, where did we lose our self-worth? I think one thing I love about Len is he's always made our daughter feel beautiful. He's always, so it's like when these guys step to her, they better step correct. And Keela, she don't play.
Yeah, no, she does not.
And she's gorgeous, and so he's made her confidence high, and so the rest of her family. But that's important, that you raise your daughters to know that she's beautiful, and then have her dad date her. And so many single moms out here, we got to stop this mess. If these dudes aren't going to be around, like, I know it's hard, because you just don't know.
You don't
know.
That's the scary part too, is like, I mean, obviously I'm single. I guess obviously
ready to mingle.
Right, yeah. Right. But I think that's what stopped me from kind of putting myself out there, because like, you don't know how people are. And like, I've seen so many people get into situations where they marry one person, and that person that they thought was like God's glory, amazing, treats them great, blah blah blah, a few years into it, and then this person is totally done a 180. And that scares me. That really does scare me, because how do you trust anyone out here?
I mean, I'm totally was in that situation. I was with my high school sweetheart, and I knew him. We grew up together, and we were together 11 years, married with 2 children. And I outgrew that situation. I outgrew him, and he wanted to still be the same 16-year-old boy, thugged out. And I was a mom of 2 children, trying to be more mature and build a career. And so we went like this, and you just never know. Yeah. And I thought I knew that person.
Right.
And so you just never know.
And sometimes you can get through those like, even when you're becoming 2 different people, you can still grow together and make it, like, I feel like people really, when things get hard, people want to run. They don't want to push through the hard stuff anymore, which is why you see these marriages failing so early on. And I just think that people just, and not saying that you didn't try, like, you guys did try,
yeah, I did,
of course,
yeah,
of course. But I just think that people really like, and sometimes the end all be all is, getting a divorce. It's just not meant to be. But other times it's just like, life is not always perfect. You got to go through the good and the bad times with the person that you say you love. But
I mean, I even think too, like, if I wouldn't have, I would have, got to where, I met Len, and we ended up falling in love and marrying and stuff too. And I said I would never marry again.
And Len said he never would be married.
And Len never thought he would ever be married, so you just never know. But anyway, so back to the conversation. So how do we define, or how do we learn, or how do we know what our self-worth is? Like, what helps us to define that?
I wish go back to our live podcast, so can someone answer it?
I know, right? Does it go like how I said too, like when you have children, like, it's important to build their confidence, whether it's a boy or a girl. Because I mean, I told my boys that they were handsome, and don't give girls no monies and all that kind of stuff, because I was one of those girls out there. Like, I didn't want my boys to be taken advantage of, and
she was taking advantage of them, breaking these boys' hearts.
Well, whatever.
Anyway. Yeah.
I just didn't want, my boys to be set up for heartache either. So, like, whether it's a boy or a girl, you still have to educate them and make sure that they understand that they're handsome, or they're beautiful, they're smart. So, like, what else? How as growing up do we define, like, our self-worth? How do we teach our young people?
God, I think just like filling those positive affirmations, like feeding them that, because kids are mean and people are mean. And so I think that as we are growing up, we take everybody else's opinions very seriously. So I think that just counteracting those negative thoughts in your head, and just reminding like, everybody's different in their own way. I mean, you just got to talk positively to yourself. I mean, you've said this to me too, like, if you speak negatively, then it's going to show up in your life. You're gonna start to believe those things. So teaching kids at a young age to, be confident and, own who they are, I think helps in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to be like Mary Jane, if you've never watched that show, we used to love that show with Gabrielle Union. She put little post-it stickers. Remember her little stickers all around like her mirror and stuff. So even if you have to do something like that, just to wake up in the morning and just read them. You are amazing. Today's going to be a great day. You're beautiful. Whatever it is that will help you. I mean, remember when we did that one we had to write the daily affirmations. Was that ninja?
Yeah, ninja selling or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. So if you have to write, daily affirmations, like whatever it is, it's going to help to build your confidence. As I know, like raising your children to not make fun of other people, like because I hate to see when children have disabilities, or like for me, and I hate to go back to this kind of stuff, but like I got bullied when I was younger, and I got made fun of because I was brown, and the school that I was going to at the time, it was predominantly white, and so I got made fun of a lot when I was younger, and then it made me not love my brown skin, and I went through like identity. Well, you were white or you were black, so where do I fit in? Because I'm a Latina. And then they made fun of like my language, and so it's like, no, I can't speak Spanish because then they're gonna make more fun of me. Like like I just totally boycotted learning to speak Spanish, even though that's what my grandmother and my whole family would speak. But nobody's like people don't stop to say, no matter what skin color somebody is. I mean, my son came home at 5 and said one of his best friends, he was 5, couldn't play with him anymore because his skin was brown.
Really?
Yes, 5.
Wow.
That comes from home. So how do we it starts at home. You have to educate your children regardless of somebody's disabilities, or if you see a little kid with no hair, then obviously they have cancer, they went through chemo, or they had leukemia. Like, why do we teach or allow our children to bully, or why do we allow them to make fun of or make somebody feel less than because their skin color is different, their hair is different, they're overweight, like whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and I think too, I feel that whether I don't know if a kid would do this, but especially as adults and as we grow older, we really have to take a step back and evaluate our relationships, our friendships. And if those friendships and relationships are not feeding you like positivity, if you feel like you're out of place or they're not respecting you or supporting you, then it's time to let those friendships go. And I've done that because, holding on to a friendship or someone in your life just for just to have them there when they're really not a positive, when not a positive influence in your life, that hurt of getting rid of that friendship, it's gonna hurt. But I feel like in the long, it's better to experience that temporary hurt than years of dealing with someone that treats you like crap. I've had many friends throughout the years, and I've kind of was like the welcome mat. I would just like let people treat me any kind of way just because that I got a reaction from them. They thought it was funny, so let me just be the butt of everybody's jokes. And now, bye.
Well, I'm really proud of you for that, though, because I know when I first met you, you had some people in your life that were really mistreating you, according to what you would tell me, and it really hurt my heart for you because you're so sweet, and you're a very genuine person, so it was like, why do you let them treat you like that? Even like our good friend Becky, or my best friend Becky, like when I first met her, because she was overweight, sorry Becky, but she used to let people like treat her any kind of way, and she felt because she was overweight that was okay. It's not. And I told her, if you guys know Becky, she's one of the most beautiful souls,
Becky,
that you will ever meet. She's so sweet, and she will give you the shirt off her back. She's a beautiful person, and everybody loves her, but you deserve better than to and so then I would just say, just channel your inner Latina. And so it just became like this joke. So whenever somebody would like try to like mistreat her, then she would start. And now she's like, no, she's not letting people do that to her, because she's understanding she's a beautiful person and she deserves more.
Well, and I think that allowing some of that mistreatment, like everybody deals with their own, negative self-thoughts or views in their own way. So for me personally, I think that just allowing people to treat me any kind of way when still like I still had like my friends, so that to me was just like, oh, they're just doing that because that's just their way of showing their love, whatever, you know what I mean?
Made excuses.
Yeah. So I think that everybody kind of internalizes their own like negative viewpoints about themselves differently. So I just really wanted to be loved, to have friends, and I love people in general. So I think that for me, I allowed people to mistreat me because I had some twisted like view that just because like they made fun of me and that's just how they showed their love for me and I just wanted friends, you know. So now taking the time to reevaluate, like, no, if someone truly cares about me and if someone is truly my friend, then they're not going to want to make me feel bad,
Right.
you know. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's just weird, like everybody kind of processes their own negative talks, negative viewpoints in a different way, you know. So even with Becky, I'm sure, you know, her weight could have been an insecurity, so the way
Yeah,
that that
absolutely.
insecurity, then so she would make jokes or allow other people to make jokes because that was just her way of processing, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
listen, y'all, we're way better than that,
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
single one of
And
us.
then, you know what, no matter what, too, because I think sometimes people think with like with me, like, oh, because I carry myself, like I don't spread my business, like I don't tell my personal stuff. And I think I've gotten more vulnerable on through these kind of things to like share some of my stories. I've talked about my bullying, you know, before, and I've talked about like, you know, my skin, you know, skin color identity and stuff like that. But um I think that um people think, oh, she's got it all together. She's like, well, hello, like no, like I don't care what level of success a woman has, celebrity stat. I mean, because when I learned like the Halle Berry, like I mean, all the Beyonce is nervous before she goes on stage. It made me feel better about being nervous going on when I was teaching Zumba. Like we're all humans and we all have emotions and we all have feelings. We've all been through something, and
Yeah.
that's like what we were talking about, like with the last episode. So it's like understanding no matter what a woman has been through something and she's been hurt, so lifting each other up and loving on each other is so important, and we need it more now than ever, I feel like, because we have so much at our fingertips with this whole social media and the world wide web. And then also in that creating our self-worth, bringing our self-worth back.
Yeah, and just because someone has confidence doesn't mean they don't have insecurities,
Exactly.
you know. So we have to just, I just
Sure, I
feel,
can pick on myself all day long. You hear me talk about myself all the time.
yeah.
So people can look on the outside and
Yeah.
think like, oh, she's got it all together. She feels she doesn't like
No,
whatever.
we all are human and we all have emotions and insecurities and all of that stuff. So I think we just all have to just work on being kinder to each other and not allowing, you know, some the way that we feel about ourselves portray and giving out negative reactions to other people too. You know, because I think that sometimes people feel like crap about themselves, so then they see someone that's more successful for them, and then they find something wrong with them because they're jealous or whatever. You know,
Yeah, you know, they're saying that hurt people
hurt people.
So that's very true.
Yeah.
So women, we are going to do better. We're going to start loving on each other, lifting each other up, and being supportive. And I love that even through like our giveaway that we did this summer, like some women, you know, have shared our videos, and that's just, I mean, it's free. You don't, you could win a prize just by sharing a video. Like, how many people are sitting back like, they really want to see us fail, but you know, God has other plans because
Yeah,
He's
we're not
always in
failing.
control.
Sorry.
He is always in control.
Amen.
So be careful when you want somebody to fail because karma's a beat. Right? So stop hating on your next sister because you should be lifting her up and you should be supporting her and you should be happy for her.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure we'll get into this into another podcast because this kind of took a turn.
I did take a little bit
I
of a
thought we were
turn.
going to be talking about dating today, so I was like, oh boy, this will be interesting. But
Yeah,
I think
she's got some stories to share.
we'll see about that. But I feel like the way, but I mean, it's going to be a good piggyback because the way that we feel about ourselves helps us have the standards for what we should be looking for in a relationship. Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, because like what makes us settle, you know?
Because people are lonely and they just want someone.
What makes us feel lonely?
Because we don't think that we're enough for ourselves.
And why do we think that?
I don't know. Shoot, that's why I got a dog. I'm sick of being alone. Regrets.
That's why Harvey's in the mix.
Regrets. No, I do love Harvey, but sometimes it's like, oh, I didn't realize how much I like being alone.
Yeah, our dogs love us unconditionally.
Yes,
but
yeah.
I understand, like I was an only child, so there were times that, you know, like I hated it. I hated being an only child because when my mom was gone, then it was just me, you know, and then what do? That's I think why I love my Barbies so much because my Barbies allowed me to escape my reality and feel like I don't know, like I had a family or something,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
like family has been really hard because my family's in Florida. So
Right.
it's just always been me and my mom. But yeah, so yeah, I just,
Well, and then for me, like I like my sister and I are 11 months apart, so it was us together all the time, you know. And then of course I have my brother too, but it's different because my sister was
age
like,
gap.
yeah, yeah, my sister did, and I did everything together. So like leaving home and being on my own, I remember I'll never forget you telling me like it's gonna be great when you live on your own, but you're gonna have some really hard days, and
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna feel really alone sometimes. And I was like, okay, and I did experience that, you know. And
I'm
then
sure
like
Britt did too.
yeah, because especially like, you know, when we go on vacations, you're going home to your husband, and you know, Becky's going home to her kids and her family, and I was going home to an empty apartment. So that was like, that was hard, you know what I mean? But I think too, sometimes you always want something else, what somebody else has. Then you have it, and then you don't, and then you are like, oh man, I didn't appreciate that time, you know? Because like I said, I love Harvey, but like sometimes I'm like, dang, I really didn't appreciate being able to come and go as I please and not worry about letting Harvey out, in the bathroom, feeding him, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. A little taste of what a responsibility is, I guess, too, for somebody
mhm.
outside of your own self, you know?
Yeah, yeah, definitely,
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely.
So like what
Yeah.
do you do when you're by yourself to escape from allowing yourself to feel lonely? And this is way off. We have no nothing. We're just free forming this.
Yeah, this is literally our
Yeah.
outline. It's
Like yeah,
not
and it
even
was
on
all
there.
about dating and
Yeah,
we haven't really
literally.
talked
Yeah,
about that at
not at
all. So
all.
continue on with our next because our next episode is going to be about the market shift
Yeah.
because it's happening whether people want to realize it or not. And people need to talk about it. So we're going to talk more about it.
Mm-hmm.
But we're kind of just going a different route.
Yeah.
So what do we do? Like I know some things that I do. So what do you
Mm-hmm.
do when you're at home to kind of keep your mind from allowing yourself to feel lonely?
I something like what I normally do is just like put my headphones on and just like blast like some of my favorite music just to kind of like uplift.
Beyonce.
Yeah, yeah, mostly. But sometimes too, it's just like I feel, and I want to work on doing this, but you know, just because I'm at home by myself, why can't I cook myself a nice dinner and you know do some stuff that I love, watch a movie? I mean, sometimes I don't even have like we're so busy that sometimes we don't even have time to just have a night in. Like we don't even know how to relax anymore. I can't even like watch a show without picking up my phone. Like, okay, let me double check, whatever. So it's just doing the things that you love. I think will help. I think that at least it helps me enjoy. Like I actually enjoy being on my own now, just because sometimes like I think our lives are so busy that like sometimes I'm like, oh, I get to just like go home and just relax, and even sometimes just like cleaning up my place because listen, my place gets a little out of control. Um, right?
I didn't say it. I didn't say it. You said it.
So sometimes even just like cleaning up my place and just having it clean and organized, like that actually puts me in a really good mood and it helps me really enjoy my space and just being home by myself. So those are my things, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, long answer kind of
No.
way. So
Hey, it's your answer. There's no
yeah.
right or wrong answer. It's what you do, what you choose to do. I know for me, everybody knows I love to do puzzles.
Yes.
And I go through spurts. Like I'm like, I'm gonna do 30 minutes every day just because it allows me to escape. Because I'm an overthinker. If you haven't learned that about me yet, I am an overthinker, and my brain is going all the time. Like I ran like Britt, did you think about this? Britt, what about Katie? What about Len? What about or Becky? What about or I'm always like my brain just goes and
Yeah,
goes and goes.
we will wake up in the morning like Becky, Britt, whoever's listening. Please tell me you've been a victim of this. Waking up to about 5 text messages from Derek at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. And I'm like, well, a lot on Derek's mind tonight. She didn't get any sleep.
Yeah. So the puzzles allow me just to escape that for 30 minutes because all I'm focusing on is connecting the pieces together. So I love that. And I got to make sure I just get back more consistent because we've just been so busy and then with vacation and stuff. So now I'm back home and I have a puzzle just sitting there on my puzzle table. But I also love to read and I was such a big reader and I don't do the same with audio. I know people, I need the pages. I need to feel the paper. Like I love the book. So I did start a book on vacation. So I'm really happy about that. And now I put it right on my nightstand. So that way, if on those nights that I can't sleep, reading sometimes will help me to relax.
Oh, good.
But when I'm home alone, I love those moments. I can just like, hey, I can just go work on my puzzle, or hey, I'm freaking do a load of laundry. Like sweep vacuum my floors. Like but I'm in my headspace. That's the bad thing. So reading and the puzzles help me to get out of my headspace. because I'm always thinking, oh, did I do this? Oh, I got to put this in my calendar. Oh, this. And, so vacuuming allows me to be in that headspace. In my car, I try to listen to like podcasts because I'm always looking for ways to grow and learn more about my business and my career. Marketing. I love marketing. You guys all know I love marketing because people always tell me,
Yes.
I think in my previous life somewhere I was a marketing person,
Yes,
CEO,
definitely.
COO.
Definitely.
If I ever got out of real estate, I said that's what I would love to do is marketing because I just love it so much. But yeah, so I think I love massages, but how often do we do that?
Yeah, right. But I do have a question for you. This is kind of going back a little bit, like, because I know you asked, like, for me, how, like, I get out of that loneliness, but how, and I know you have your insecurities too, but
Yeah.
I've known you've always not allowed people to like treat you a certain type of way, so, and you do have a confidence about you and you demand respect from people. So like, how did you just go about that? Like, how did that just happen? Were you always like that, or did something just like, because I know you were made fun of it young, so how did you just like, no, I'm not taking this anymore?
I think a couple of different things to answer that question is I think that because I've been hurt by so many people, you learn a defense. So a lot of it is like this defense, because even like when me and you first met, like I don't let people in very easily. I try to be nice to everybody, but like I don't let people into my heart.
God, it took so long. I was like, girl, I'm just gotta love you. Come on.
I don't let people into my
friend.
heart very easily just because I've been betrayed and hurt by, family, close, best friends for years. And so I think I have like this wall or this defense mechanism, but I also come from a very strong line of women that are type A, assertive. We'll call them assertive.
Definitely Enneagram number 8.
Yeah. Because my mom's an Enneagram number 8. Yep. So, and my Oella, RIP, it's where I feel like my great grandmother never spoke English, so I don't really know, but my grandmother was freaking strong as I don't know what, like so strong. And my mom is very strong. And so I just feel like seeing them be strong women and speak up and, not being taken advantage of. But I've learned to also like tame my tongue a little bit too. So like I'm always the bad cop and I get tired of always being the bad cop. Hence our conversation yesterday with Britt.
Yeah.
It's time for Britt to be the bad cop.
Good luck, Britt.
I can be the good cop.
Yeah. You're going to try.
I'm going to try. I can't convert overnight.
No.
But I think just because I've been hurt so much, I think that you just kind of learn like, no, this is not acceptable. Even like I had a lender yesterday started to cuss at me because his company was falling short and handling a transaction for my client. And so he started cussing me and I hung up on him. Then he called me back. I put him in voicemail. You will not disrespect me, and I will not allow that.
But see, what I respect though is that you didn't retaliate in disrespect.
And I sure could have.
Yes. Which, if someone's cussing at you, of course, the thing you want to do is retaliate back like that. But I respect you for being like, nope, we're just gonna end it. So
now he can't talk to me anymore.
Yeah, good.
Now it's just email or text.
Nice. See, yeah, bigger person. That's good. That's really good. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Really good. So I think as women though, I think that's what we do because then even like for Len, like I was so guarded with Len, and he had to get through my walls and it takes some time, but I think it just comes from past hurts and past trauma. I've been through a lot and a lot in my childhood, so and I know people look at me like, oh, like you just have no idea what I've been through.
Yeah.
So don't judge a book by its cover, and you should always be kind because you don't know. Like I've got a lot of hurt and stuff in my past, and I try not to bring that into today, and so that's why I try to be happy. I try to love on people. I do have a feisty side, but I try not to bring her out. Out.
Yeah, and but you made a good point. You don't know what people are going through, so it's really not that hard to be kind to people.
It actually should take more effort to be mean.
Yeah.
It should be effortless to be nice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
And you do it so well. Becky does it so well. My friend, Melissa Nori, she's another one. She's so nice and so sweet. Like if you make her mad, and she was telling me a story recently that really upset her, and she spoke up, and I was so freaking proud of her because she's another one. She doesn't like confrontation, and her husband's a coach, and he's like and she's like, no, please. So when you make people like her, when you make people like Becky or you upset, it's like people really did something because you guys don't get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a nice person.
I try. but I'm a little sensitive. So
Well, I think we're all sensitive. Just some show it more than others.
Yeah,
You know, I think
yeah.
we all have a sensitive side. Even like our friend Jerry, she has a hard exterior, but she's super sensitive inside. You know, we've all learned that. So Jerry, you ain't hiding from nobody.
We see you, girl.
We see you, girl.
But this is just your reminder, guys, to not settle for less than what you deserve, whether it's a friendship, a relationship, even your own family. If you got to cut them off, which I've done.
What
And
was that book? What was that book that we read?
I had never read it.
You didn't read it?
No.
Oh my God, it was so good.
Still in my house, though. Something about family.
Something about, yeah, like
Toxic family.
toxic family, something. I'm gonna have to get this book for you guys. It was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah, because I'm like, just because you're like, even if your family's blood, like,
that doesn't make it right.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. People think that they have to tolerate that. Oh, well, they're family. They're
Nope,
my family.
absolutely
so
not.
Nope.
If they're toxic or Karens, or boundaries,
Yeah.
you don't have to cut them out of your life,
Right.
but just put boundaries in place. Boundaries are healthy.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
You know?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
So this one's been really long.
It has. It's been
Yeah.
30 minutes. We don't usually go 30 minutes. We average about 20, 25,
Right.
I
This
think.
was supposed to be like a chill podcast before the holiday, but
yeah,
this was good.
it's
Good
good.
topic. Yeah.
Hopefully you'll learn something. Please drop some notes below. Give us some comments because, you know, we do love the feedback that we get from you guys that do listen. And then next episode, we are hoping we're going to do the market shift. And then we're going to come back to this and actually get into the dating in today's world.
Yeah, maybe I'll have some more stories to share by then. Who knows?
You should keep a log so you won't forget. We don't want her to forget. This is some good stuff.
Oh my God.
Thanks for tuning in. Have a happy 4th.